So now comes the tricky part, and now how we basically will create this connection here is by taking the whole container which is on the right, and we will move it further to the which is the left container, sorry, the container that's on the left, and move it further to the right until it connects with with the outer border of the clock. All right, so we're gonna just take this one here and move it to the right. Let's see. So let's select our container here, and we want to change the outer spacing of it. And since we want to go it on the right, we will tell it that we're only interested in outer spacing in the right side direction, and we will gonna move it, but not up, we're gonna move it down into the negative space. And as you can see, it already starts to move here to this border of the clock. Let's check it out in the designer at the preview. Yeah, look, it's already came much closer to the clock. So maybe let's go and tell it to be -3. Check out the designer again. Oh, look, it's already connected here, or almost connected. So let's increase the value only slightly to 3.1 and see how the result is. Well, maybe 3.1 is not enough. Let's go with 3.3. And as you can see, this looks perfect. But still, we need to get rid of this border here of the clock. And right now, we have the problem that our container here, as every container here at the designer, is transparent. And this is why we are not able to overlay this border. So let's go and select our container, go to our background settings, and change the transparency from 0, which basically means it's completely transparent, to 100, which means it's not transparent at all. And see how this looks like now. Okay, nothing has changed, but you can see here there is a border now, a background here of our container, which is basically inside this clock's container. And what we need to do now is basically to tell the designer that we want this container to be on top of the other container. And this can be also done here at our position settings or sizing settings with the vertical position. So we don't want auto, we want the position to be 0. So let's check it out. And boom, as you can see here, we're basically now overlaying the border of the whole container. So this already looks pretty good. So let's repeat the steps on the other side. So basically we want to select our container here, and of course we want the spacing now go to the left instead on the right, and we used a negative spacing of 3.3. So just let's use the same number here too. Let's check it out if it's matching. Perfect. So now we will increase our vertical position to 0 and remove our transparency. So let's see how it looks now. And as you can see, this looks pretty good. So now only one thing is a bit weird. That's that our prices are now inside our clock. And this value also is pretty close to the clock design. So let's tell this components that they should stay away from it. Let's select this component here and tell that our outer spacing, that we don't want it to be that far right. So as you can see it now on the right side, we added some spacing, and if we go to the preview again, we see that this number is now much further away. I would also argue we can even increase it a little bit more. Let's see. It didn't do anything. Why? Outer spacing. Ah, now it worked. Weird. Okay, so let's accept this and let's do the same for this container here. So we select here we need to select the inner ones, like here too. So we're gonna add some outer spacing on the left. Let's move it away from our clock. Let's check it out. Okay, so this looks good, but we're now, well, it could also be a bit more to the right, right? So let's check it out. How can we can select the outer container which wraps all this area, and as you can see now this is a bit overlapping. So let's select our price distribution here and tell the price distribution container that we want it to scroll. So we do not want to overlap with the other components, and we tell it to scroll vertically. So close. Okay, let's check it out. So as you can see now, this container is now able to scroll its contents, so it can adjust its height. Okay, but we still need our outer container to add some inner spacing to push back our values so they do not overlap with the clock. And we want this inner spacing to be on the left, and maybe let's just try with a value of 2. Okay, it's kind of shaping up nicely, but we are still overlapping the clock. And I'm kind of confused right now, if I'm honest, why this is happening. We have a vertical position. If we tell it to be 1, this is, I think, too much. Yep. It needs to be 0, I think. Let's tell the clock to be 0. See what happens. Oh, now we get the border back on this side. This is not something we want. So this should stay on auto. And this is confusing even for me right now, since we should not see this border here overlapping.